recording. Welcome to Now Faith Holy Church Worship and Wellness today. There's a lot of things we can talk about, but being that the situation is that it is, we are going to be talking about some stress reset, releasing event snatching energy and talent. Now, in scripture, the Spirit of the Lord says in 3 John 2, Beloved, I would above all that you may prosper and be in health just as your soul prospers. So he is about our well-being. He is about our health. So we are going to discuss some health today. So I, in my younger days, used to love to watch Star Trek. So that is actually the Star Trek Enterprise. I gave it a new name today, and I call it Eustress Enterprise. But if you think about stress, it can be a chronic frontier, and it's just like being in outer space sometimes. It's an unending mission to invite fight and flight, sabotage your rest and digest, stir up fear, worry, and anxiety, explore new ways to bring on disease labels, to seek out new ways to invoke imbalance, to boldly go where no other has gone before. So that's what stress can do. So stress, there's a 10-year study concluded that emotional stress was more predictive of death from cancer and cardiovascular disease than smoking. And that comes from the British Journal of Medical Psychology. Now, this is a current statistic. It says more than 8 in 10 Americans, about 83%, say the future of our nation is a significant source of stress. And that's just as of June the 18th. So people who were unable to effectively manage stress had a 40% higher death rate than non-stressed individuals, just because of stress. Now, before I go any further, I want to let you know that I am a non-medical doctor. I do not diagnose, prescribe, or treat. I educate and empower you to make informed decisions regarding your life and your health. The information in this presentation is not intended to replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified healthcare professional and is not intended as medical advice. It is intended as a sharing of knowledge and information from the research and experience of Dr. Valerie A. Mills and the experts who have contributed. So I always encourage you to make your own healthcare decisions based upon your research and in partnership with a qualified healthcare professional. So what we're going to learn today is what stress is, how stress affects your body and well-being, and then some tips to reset from stress. So what is stress? According to Merriam-Webster, stress is defined as a state of mental tension that leads to strong feelings of worry and anxiety caused by issues in your life, your work, family, or other means. The origin of the word stress, it comes from the Middle English, and it means obstacle, and it means to impede or stand against. An obstacle is a barrier or a hurdle, And a saying from Henry Ford is that obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. So this is just a cloud of stress. It can be these things and more. It can be a health issue. It can be a relation issue. It can be a financial issue. It can be a physiological, psychological issue, and an emotional issue. There are just many things that can be stressful. So the body's mind and response to any pressure that disrupts or threatens to disrupt its normal balance is stress. So fight or flight means you're in a situation like we talked about before. You can be taking a walk and a dog starts to bark. You immediately try to decide, am I going to stand here or am I going to run? What am I going to do? How your body and your mind responds when you're in pressured situations is going to determine how you react. So it affects every part of your body. So this is just an example of some of the things that stress can do to our bodies. It can affect our mind with worry, nightmares, indecisions, negativity, having trouble thinking, having trouble making good judgments, forgetting, being panicky or distressed. It can affect how you behave. It can cause you to lose your appetite or desire to eat more. There are some people who have an emotional eating challenge. It can lead you to resort to drugs or alcohol abuse, lashing out in violence, being clumsy, harming yourself, having trouble sleeping, hoarding, or alienation. also it can affect your emotions, where to the point it affects your self-esteem. You have low confidence, you're irritable, depressed, feeling hopeless or lonely, apprehensive, angry, or even apathy. You just don't want anything to do with anybody. And then, most commonly, what people recognize when it comes to stress is what it does to your body. You can have migraines, pain, trouble sleeping, chronic illnesses, disabilities, sore, tight muscles, fatigue, weakness, skin conditions, or digestive issues. All of those, and then some, are examples that your body is under stress. Stress hurts relationships, it hurts your health, and it hurts your ability to enjoy life. So basically, it is hard to define stress because it means different things to different people. However, it is clear that most of the time, when we think of stress, it is a negative feeling rather than a positive feeling. And that's from the National Mental Health Association. So I'm going to put up a poll to just give you an opportunity to let me know what your stressors are. And you should see it on the screen to let me know what your greatest stressor is. And I'm going to leave that running for a few moments. And I see there's 2 of 17 people who have answered, and that is great. So there, like I said, there's different stressors: physical, mental, financial, spiritual, and there could be others that I don't have on here. So I'll give you a few more seconds to answer that. Do you want to answer it? A few more seconds to answer that poll. So we see that, and while that is going, I am going to go to the next slide. So, and we're going to talk about some types of stress beyond the ones I just mentioned: the physical, the mental, the stressors of those natures. So, now, there's actually, remember I said most of the time when we think of stress, we think of negative stress, but there's also something called having no stress, eustress, or just plain out distress, which most people think of. No stress is when you just kind of blah, you're apathetic, you're not feeling anything, you're unenthusiastic, you just have no feeling. Eustress is actually good stress. It allows you to be energetic and successful. It allows you to be able to be positive. So still getting a few more minutes with the poll. It allows you to be positive. And then the distress is when there's disappointment, or you feel threatened, or you feel like you failed, or you just feel embarrassed. So any of those things. So this is an example to bring it a little closer to home. Eustress versus distress. Eustress is positive, distress is negative. So on the left side, you see the little man. He is using all his energy to motivate him to move into action to get things done. Whereas you see Mr. Duck on the right side, he's just totally frustrated. He has a hammer. He's going to knock his computer out. So he is experiencing a bad day. He is having a very bad day. So what we want to do is, because we've talked about what stress is and the different types of stress, what we have to do is learn to identify our stressors. And I'm going to stop the poll now. And it looks like most of the stressors that people are experiencing is financial stress first, and then there is that's 50%, and then 33% are experiencing spiritual stress, and 17% physical stress. So we have a broad spectrum of the stress, and I can share those results with you. You should be seeing that on your screen now as to the results of the poll. All right, so let's move on to our next section. So identifying stressors. So what we need to do, you see there's a lot of things on this screen that can be stressful. And the thing about it, your body actually doesn't know whether it's a good stress or a bad stress. But if you stay in a state of flight a long time, your body's going to consider it to be a bad thing, and your body can start to express whether that be tired or having a short fuse or frustrated, blood pressure issues, feeling overwhelmed, angry, affecting your blood sugar, you're being able to think, having brain fog, forgetting things, weight gain, or sometimes weight loss that you're not wanting to do, anxiety, fatigue, and even mood swings. So what happens is when you need to identify a stressor. When you're in a situation, an event, you need to recognize and take a moment to notice how it feels in your body. Catch that and notice how it feels in your body. And scripturally it says to lay aside every weight in Hebrews chapter 12. And if you were to study that passage and go really deep with that, it's not talking about laying aside something that you're holding like with your hands. It's talking about the energetic, emotional, and attitudes that we have. We tend to hold those things within our body, and they actually cause our body to express negative things such as diseases, whatever the labels are, because those energy lines within us are blocked. So once you recognize how it feels in your body, if you know that you can avoid that stressor, avoid it. If you can avoid it, manage how you respond. And that means responding and not reacting, taking a few moments to think about it before you take an action. So I like to liken that to having a moment to think before I speak. And that way you can transform your stress from a distress to a eustress, a good stress, and deal with the situation more appropriately. So overall, when people think of stress, they think it's whack. And technically, chronic stress and not taking time to relax actually kills brain cells. It actually kills brain cells. So let's do a little reset here. So here I'm going to do one more poll, and then we're going to do some more interactive. Where is my other poll? Edit. Let's go here. So this time I'm asking you, how do you manage stress? Because we're going to take some time to actually do a little bit of stress relieving exercises. And this is our wellness and worship. And we can't be effective members in the body of Christ. We can't be effective examples of the word made flesh unless we are caring for these bodies as a whole. Awesome. I see lots of good results so far. We have someone who uses all of these. That is great. Great, great, great. And it is very helpful doing those. So using some of these, the breathing, the yoga, the mindfulness, the meditation, the time management, aromatherapy, nutrition, being outside, journaling, sleeping. Sleeping is huge. One of my things that I have to manage very diligently is time. I can get very flustered if I recognize that I'm taking on too many things and I'm coming up to a deadline. So I have to really manage my time, because if I don't manage my time, it affects my sleep. Not that I can't sleep, but I try to make myself stay awake to get projects done. So that's not a good thing, because that adds another layer of stress whenever we are actually doing those type things, and we don't want to stress ourselves. So it looks like the majority of the people who are going to answer have answered. So I'm going to end the poll and let you see the results of what came about. So a lot of people do breathing exercises, and a lot of people spend time in nature. So that is awesome, 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 awesome. So let me move that out of the way, and we will continue on. So some tips to reset from stress is just be realistic. Whatever the situation is, set limits. Like I said, I have to set limits on time and the things that I am doing, making sure that I'm not taking on too much, allowing others to help, not trying to be a superhero, trying to do everything at one time, but take one thing at a time. And for me, no is now my favorite word. No, I can't do that right now. No, this is not appropriate, whatever. So take one thing at a time. Go easy on yourself. Don't expect too much of yourself. Don't try to don't allow people to have such high expectations of you so that you actually fail because of their expectations. And most definitely, take the time to share your feelings and stay in touch with people. Friends are very necessary to have, at least have some close confidants, especially in the times that we are in. We need support. So, some things to do again to reset, to release event snatching energy and talent is to slow down. Slow down, take time to think, take time to breathe, keep calm, be positive, take it easy, unplug, lay down the social media, the electronics. Social media, it can be a stressor to some people. I was involved in a webinar the other day. They asked how many people were stressed by social media. Well, I'm not, because I'm not on there a whole lot, because I just haven't spent the time to learn how to do all of those things, which I'm getting better at it. But unplug. Really, even at night, you should not be sleeping with your phones or electronic devices near you. If you're going to leave them on, I encourage you to turn the Wi-Fi off and to put it on airplane mode, because it is emitting waves that can affect you and your health. Enjoy life, have fun, breathe, relax, go outside, smile, and meditate or pray, whatever you choose to call that. So it's not stress that kills us, it's our reaction to it. It's not stress that kills us, it's our reaction to it. So we're going to do a few exercises here. For those of you who said that you do breathing exercises, that is wonderful. But just to give you an idea, if you would just take a few moments right where you are, is to put your hand on your lower abdomen, just below your navel. And if you will just lightly touch it. And if you will breathe in through your nose slowly, about 4 to 8 counts, your abdomen should rise. Because what happens many times is we don't deep breathe, we shallow breathe, so we're not allowing the oxygen to circulate through our bodies, so that can affect how we think, how we respond or react. So put your hand on your lower abdomen, breathe in through your nose, your abdomen should rise, hold it for about 4 seconds at the top, and then let it out. Your abdomen should retract, it should get smaller. So in times of anxiety, take the moment to take some deep breaths in through your nose, to hold it and release it. And you should feel a calm come about you. So breathe. It's not just our normal breathing, it's really conscious, mindful breathing to help us to calm down. And when we do that, it allows that stress hormone cortisol to lower. So we're not in that fight or flight mode. Now, one thing, and I will stop the screen share here in just a few moments, because I want to be able to show you this tapping, but I want to show it to you here on the screen first, and then we're going to actually do it together. So our body is so filled with energy, and there are some energy lines, and we won't get into those today, but the energy lines actually correlate with the organs and the organ systems in our bodies. And as you can see, I did the face because that's mostly what we see on Zoom is our face. But even just doing something called tapping on your face can allow you to relieve stress, because your face has areas that, like I said, are symbolic to the organs in your body. And we're going to demonstrate that here in just a few moments. So just remember tapping. I like to call it asking, because we're asking our body, where am I blocked? And where do I need to unblock? So good stress management is having a hobby, meditating, being out in nature, exercising, and sometimes you even have to watch your exercise, because if you're doing too much strenuous exercise, that can be a stressor on your body as well. So balancing that between aerobic exercise, strength training, just taking a leisurely walk, just getting some movement in, even some qigong with people who are when I'm working with clients, and with clients who tend to be not able to move as much doing some of the strenuous exercises, I encourage them to do Tai Chi or Qigong, because those exercises actually move stagnant, blocked, not moving energy, and it allows them to, it is really a workout because you have to be mindful about doing it, but it allows things to still be moved into their bodies, moved out of their bodies. Again, time management for me and music. I love jazz. I love saxophone. So that's why we had the saxophone playing this morning. And just laughing, just being wherever you are so that you can laugh. So I'm about to wrap this up so we can do our little tapping exercise. So mind your mind, calm your mind, speak positive, and mind your mouth. Make sure that what is on the end of your fork is going to be a positive, beneficial thing for your body and not a stressful thing. Reduce the foods that are stressing you. Reduce anything that you know is an allergen, and begin to read labels. Whatever is at the top of the label is what's most in a product. If you're buying something that's in a can or in a box, and if it's usually more than 5 ingredients, it's really not that great of an idea to be buying it, especially if it's in a box. And if it's words that you can't pronounce, you don't know what they are, kind of stay away from it. There's a lot of things. Anything that ends in OSE is a sugar. Anything that has a E, I can't even get it out. Preservatives, I'll say preservatives. Look for the preservatives because those things can be triggers and cause inflammation in your body. But lean to more to a plant-based diet. The nutrition. If you eat meat, just make sure it's clean. But plant-based is key because you're getting the vitamins and the nutrients that you need. And just we'll talk a little bit later about actually supporting our digestive system, the health of our gut. Staying hydrated is huge to not being stressed. Many times people tend to be dehydrated and not realize it. By the time people drink, most of the time they're at a deficit of like 3 to 6 glasses of water, of hydration. And there are ways to hydrate other than with water. And that is, I just did a session with one of my groups that I coach about hydrating using herbs and spices and to make some very tasty drinks. So we'll talk about that one of these days, about hydrating, getting minerals, and making sure that we are supporting our cells because you can be dehydrated and still have inflammation, to have edema, retained fluid, because your body is trying to pull from the resources of the fluid that it has to support itself. So sometimes when people are expressing edema, retaining fluid, it's because they're dehydrated. And then, of course, good sleep. Develop a sleep ritual. Have a preferably getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep. More able, preferably to bed by 10 p.m. And we've talked before about the liver and the gallbladders work is between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And that's the detoxifiers of our bodies. So we really need to work on getting to bed by 10 p.m. And if you're a night worker, then there's some other things that you can put in place to help your body get the rest that it needs. So that's another topic to talk about as well. Mind your words. Words are containers of power. You choose what kind of power they carry. You choose what kind of power they carry. And remember, we are the word made flesh. Mind your words. Mind your mouth. Let your smile change the world, but don't let the world change your smile. So when you do those things, you enter into the stress-free zone. So how you start your day is how you're going to live your day. And how you live your day is the way you live your life. One small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. So right now, if you are holding on to stress, tell yourself you're releasing the stress and the worry to focus on what feels good. Because now you're taking note when you're involved in events, how you feel, and you're going to respond differently. So relax. Take a walk. If you're at a beach, take a walk on the beach if they're allowing that. If you're in a neighborhood, take a leisurely walk in the park or just your neighborhood. Just relax. Tell yourself that you're free from tension, stress, and strain because your body responds to what you think and what you say. So, reset from stress, release events, snatching energy and talent. If you want to learn more beyond this, if you're ready to reset from stress, my information is currently on the screen, but I'm going to stop the share right now and open up the screen so that we can do our little tapping exercise. And I'm going to stop the live feed from Facebook. So give me a moment. So I'll stop share, gonna stop recording.